In today's world, only 1% of the rich population owns roughly 48% of the total wealth of society. And only about 80 of the world's wealthiest people are worth more than the 3.5 billion who make up half of the world's population. Taking these figures into consideration, we can conclude that the rich and poor are separated. Most people believe that rich people acquired their wealth through inheritance or by chance, such as winning a lottery, but the truth is more complex. Only 11 of the 80 wealthiest people inherited a large sum of money and assets from their ancestors, while the remaining 69 achieved success through hard work and determination. Take, for example, Warren Buffett, who was raised in a middle-class family but has amassed a wealth of more than $70 billion thanks to his exceptional skills and vast knowledge. We must have seen people living their lives with extra money, while others barely have enough to live on. Have you ever wondered what makes rich people different from poor people? Of course, the answer is that the rich have far more money than the poor, but we'll look at why that is here. In this video, I will discuss 7 reasons why the rich are different from the poor. But before I do that, please make sure you watch this video until the end. And do not skip any part so that you don't miss out on those 7 reasons that could potentially change your life. Also, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Number 1. The rich never stop learning. If you think about it, even though rich and poor people live in the same city, have access to the same job opportunities, and have the same 24 hours every day, one has the luxury of unlimited wealth while the other struggles to make ends meet with his monthly salary. The question here is how the financial disparity between them was created. To answer this question, let's look at our friends Tom and David as an example. Tom is a rich gentleman, whereas David is a poor man. I'll list all of the habits that distinguish the two people so you can understand which habits you should adopt or abandon in order to achieve success in your life. To be clear, both Tom and David are from the similar family status, live in the same city, and have the same IQ, so there is no superiority of one over the other. But their bank balance showed a different picture of money. It's the afternoon of the first day of the week, and both Tom and David have just returned from work. When David arrived home, he sat down on his sofa to engage in some unproductive activities, such as watching TV or scrolling through social media. Although his boss advised him to read some books in order to advance in his career the following year, David ignored the advice. Furthermore, his favorite show is airing today, and he does not want to miss it at any cost. Tom, on the other hand, rushes home and sits in front of his computer to study for exams. He has a master's degree in several fields, but he still spends some of his evenings studying so that he can move up the corporate ladder more quickly. Actually, Tom recently learned that his millionaire idol Dan Lok spends more than $1 million per year on learning. So Tom believes he should adopt his millionaire idol's habits. So the first difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich never stop learning. Number 2. The rich pass on value, while the poor simply pass time. The next day, David's boss is distributing bonuses to all of his employees, and David receives an envelope. But he only receives a $100 check, which enrages him, and he rushes to his boss to inquire why he receives such a small amount despite working there for around 10 years. His boss responds by emphasizing how poor his performance is and how he never bothers to work overtime at work. On the other side, Tom is working on his assigned project when his boss comes over to hand him a $10,000 bonus for his extra hours worked, and saving around $1 million in expenses on his previous project. Tom is surprised to receive such a large bonus and expresses his gratitude to his boss for recognizing his talent and hard work. So the second difference is that the rich pass on value, while the poor simply pass time. Number 3. The rich choose to pay themselves first, while the poor choose that to do at the end. The following week, David is looking forward to Thursday because that is when he receives his paycheck. As soon as he received his pay, he went to the bank and sent payments to his creditors, such as paying his landlord's rent, depositing his utility bills, and paying his income tax. By the end of the month, David realizes he hasn't saved anything, and his bank balance is even lower than the previous month, and he has no idea where the money has gone. On the other hand, when Tom receives his salary, $500 is automatically transferred to his non-accessible savings account. Tom pays his utility bills, rent, and other expenses, such as income taxes, after securing his savings. By the end of the month, Tom is pleased with his savings and the increase in his bank balance as he became wealthier. The third difference is that the rich choose to pay themselves first, while the poor choose that to do at the end. Real quick, if you guys are enjoying this video, which I put a lot of time and energy into, I would really appreciate it if you guys tap the like button and make sure you subscribe with notification on. And if we get 2,000 likes on this video, I'll drop a brand new video next week about the same topic. Now, let's get back to the video. Number 4. The rich have a mindset that is focused on growth, while the poor have a mindset that is fixed on limitations. David was watching TV after a long day at work. He comes across an advertisement for the latest set of TV screens, which costs $1,000, which is the entire amount David set aside for entertainment purposes. But he's also wishing hard to buy the latest PlayStation, which costs $500, so he can't get both. David blames his boss for not providing him with a sufficient bonus to purchase the desired PlayStation. On the other hand, after passing his exam, John decides to reward himself for his efforts by purchasing a new gaming system and television. John, too, has a $1,000 budget for his purchase, but he really wants both the new state-of-the-art TV and the PlayStation console. Instead of choosing between the two, John wonders how he can have both. John figures out that he can do some consulting on the side to make the extra $500 he needs to buy a PlayStation and build himself the best gaming setup as a reward for his hard work. So the fourth difference is that the rich have a mindset that is focused on growth, while the poor have a mindset that is fixed on limitations. Number 5. The rich recognize the benefits of delaying gratification, whereas the poor are drawn to short-term pleasures. As David drags himself to work, he thinks he needs a $10 frappuccino to get his morning started. He can't work without his daily dose of caffeine, even though it costs him $10. In contrast, Tom does not waste money on Starbucks coffee and instead relies on the free coffee provided at work. Despite its lack of flavor, it saves Tom $10 every day. Tom, you see, has been saving $10 per day for a year, and now has $3,000, which he plans to spend on an all-inclusive trip to Thailand with his friends. Tom believes that his decision to delay gratification conforms him to the characteristics of other rich people. He discovered this in a Temple University study, which was regarded as the most important factor in determining wealth. And according to that study, people who plan for bigger rewards in the future are less likely to fall for short-term joys. That is why avoiding a latte is far more convenient than missing out on all the fun that a Thailand trip can provide. So the fifth difference is that the rich recognize the benefits of delaying gratification, whereas the poor are drawn to short-term pleasures. Before I present you reason number 6, comment down below your country name. In that way, I will know exactly where you're from. So in the future, I can make sure that every single video I release is meant for you. So drop your country's name in the comments down below. And make sure to watch this video until the end, and do not skip any part so that you won't miss out on those important tips. Now, let's get back to the video. Number 6. The rich create multiple sources of income, whereas the poor rely on a single one. When the economy began to deteriorate, many businesses decided to reduce the number of employees in order to save money. David was scrolling through social media while sitting in his workplace, barely trying to do his job fairly, when he received a note from his boss saying, "Return the company's badge and laptop to the front desk before leaving as we decided to let you go." David starts to panic, unsure how he will pay his rent and bills now that his only source of income has disappeared. David had always assumed that being an employee meant having job security, and after being fired, he began to wonder if this long-held belief had been incorrect. The economic crisis forced Tom's boss to let him go as well, but during his exit counseling, his boss spent an hour explaining how hardworking and passionate Tom is, but unfortunately, even after removing many other employees previously, Tom must leave as well. Tom accepted the decision professionally and assured his boss that he has plans to deal with financial issues. You may have noticed that Tom recognized that none of the jobs were secure, so when he began working at the job, he also began to build an online business alongside, which is now developed enough to support him financially until he finds another job. So the sixth difference is that the rich create multiple sources of income, whereas the poor rely on a single one. Number 7. The rich surrounds themselves with other successful and wealthy people, whereas the poor surrounds themselves with other failed individuals. After being laid off for a week, David is currently wasting his time at home while he and his other unsuccessful friends complain about how the economy is to blame for their failure, and how they would have been successful if they had gotten the same fortune as many other people. On the other hand, the day Tom was fired from his job, he planned a dinner for his close friends. He tells them how the economic crisis has caused him to lose his job. However, he tries to persuade his friends that he is doing well financially because he has a developed business. His friend enthusiastically invites him to join his construction company, while another eagerly asked him to join him in starting a consulting firm. His friend believes that because of his high compatibility with Tom, they can grow the business to be one of the best in the city. So the seventh difference is that the rich surrounds themselves with other successful and wealthy people, whereas the poor surrounds themselves with other failed individuals. Now, if you want to watch more videos like this, then you need to watch this video right here. This video is one of the best on this channel. You can click on this video to watch further.